So these, of course, are the big details that are emerging about Pakistan's strategy and what they were up to, of course, preceding the Trump presidency. Abhinandan Mishra, editor Strategic Affairs, The Sunday Guardian, is joining us live in the broadcast. Abhinandan, we are clearly breaking down Pakistan's strategy, how they were using these firms to get close to the Trump administration. Abhinandan.
Hi, Uday. Good to be with you on this show. Yes, Uday, it became very clear since October that Pakistan went on a sort of lobbying shopping. So when they realized that Trump is coming back to power, they started engaging firms, lobbying firms, which they believe, they were told that the people heading these firms are very close to Donald Trump. And one of the primary firms which has been engaged is the square pattern box. And why is it important? Because this firm, I am being told, helped Pakistan in being kept out of the FATF, which India has been lobbying for a long time, especially after the Pahalgam attack. And in May 2025, Paul W. Jones, who is now with this particular lobbying firm, the Square Pattern Box, and he was a former ambassador, he wrote to Elizabeth, officer in the U.S. State Department, that he wanted to meet her regarding this particular FATF. And the result of that meeting was that Pakistan was kept out of the FATF. So, yes, Pakistan has been playing very smartly, especially the deep state which is led by the Pakistan military, the ISI, and it, as you rightly said, the people who are based in the U.S., the diaspora.
Absolutely. Abhinandan, also, this is clearly explaining how Pakistan has tried to get close to the establishment in Washington, D.C. But this also exposes to the public of Pakistan where their exchequer's money is being spent, Abhinandan. This is a cash-starved nation. This is a nation that begs the IMF and others for money to bail it out. And this is where they are spending the money of the exchequer. The Aam Aadmi in Pakistan is suffering from high prices and inflation, and this is where their money in thousands of dollars is going.
Absolutely. And we have to understand that the value which we have quoted in our report, which is based on document proof, is likely to be undervoiced, because the 29 crore figure that we have arrived at is something which has been put in the documents. But what I have learned is that the actual figure that the Pakistan government has spent on these lobbying firms is much, much more. So yes, it's a very valid question that a country which is surviving on IMF bond, IMF support, the World Bank support, and its people are at very different levels. But this same country is spending so much of money on US lobbying, that too against India. Not for its own good. It just wants to damage India, and for that it is spending these money. So yes, you're very right in asking that what should the people of Pakistan think about this?
Let me in fact quickly also bring in at this point Professor Madhav Nalapath, editorial director of the Sunday Guardian. Professor Nalapath, what do you make of this the Sunday Guardian Newsx exclusive, really breaking down what Pakistan's strategy was to try and get close to the Trump administration? Hiring lobbyists, hiring these firms, making business deals. This is all that's been happening over the period of the last several months.
Look, Abhinandan Mishra is one of the ace star correspondents of the Sunday.
Professor Nalapath, we're not being able to hear you very clearly. Let me try and bring in Surinder Singh Lali, international affairs expert. Okay, I think we're having errors with Surinder Lali as well. All right, I'll go back to Abhinandan Mishra at this point then. Abhinandan, this is of course really a big expose, and just tell us a bit about how Pakistan was picking these firms and what the modus operandi of these firms was. They were trying to, lobby US congressmen, arrange congressional meetings as well, isn't it?
This is a subject that we have been following for the last 6-7 years. But what is different right now is that earlier they used to engage 5 to 6 firms. But now it has exponentially increased to 13, which I believe has increased by 2 more numbers, because this data of 13 is till of May end. So maybe 2 more firms have been added to this list. How they were recruiting these firms, that is based on the input that they were receiving from their diaspora, from the businessman, the business community which is based in US, obviously from the ISI input. And some of these firms are being led by people from State Department who are now retired, who were earlier posted in Pakistan. So they had established, and they had convinced them that, yes, engage us, give us the money, we'll ensure that you get a good treatment from the incoming Trump administration. And by the way, which is happening, right? I mean, Trump has multiple times said that Pakistan is a good friend of mine. He recently hosted a lunch for Chief of Army Staff, General Munir, despite the entire Pahalgam thing. So I believe that these lobbying firms are doing their job.
Okay. Let me also ask you then, Abhinandan, about, also, of course, the strategies reportedly which have started before Trump's win. Are they continuing as we speak as well? Is Pakistan continuing to spend money on this? There have been various other reports, that investments were made in cryptocurrency firms as well, endorsed by Trump's family. All of this is obviously being advised to them by these companies continuously, isn't it, Abhinandan?
Yes, Uday. And we must keep this in mind that these firms are being led by very experienced diplomats, former diplomats who know how things work in U.S. Administration, how things work in Washington. And they are, some of them were a part party, some of them were from the Democrat before joining the this administration. So yes, they know how things work, and they have been doing that. In fact, not just India, they have advised Pakistan that you should also tell Trump that you have rare earth minerals with you. And that is something which has come up, and that is something which has given Pakistan a very good cushion against any hostile action from America.
Offers made, because at the end of the day, of course, Donald Trump is a businessman, he loves deals. What was being offered by the Pakistan establishment? As you were saying, these minerals, also reportedly they were saying that they will help recover lost weapons in Afghanistan. They were also at the end of the day offering other things as well regarding help against terror organizations, crackdown or extraditions. These have all been things on the table, isn't it, during these deals?
All is narrative. I mean, the claim that they are making that they will help Pakistan, US Army recover the arms that they had left behind in Afghanistan, that is not possible, because majority of the weapons, US Army had taken it back, and the rest they had given it to the incoming Afghan administration. So it's just a guise of like saying that, okay, we'll help you in this. There's no reality in that. And secondly, extradition. Most of the terror organizations, most of 99% of the terrorist organization is working. They are based in Pakistan. So how can you tell? I mean, how are you going to convince the world that we are going to help you in fighting terrorism? But so all this is a part of it. They are selling it to the U.S. administration, especially Donald Trump personally. And they know how to deal with him, what he likes, what he doesn't like. So they are acting like that.
Yes, it did, because people were surprised. This is the same Donald Trump who in his previous presidency had actually threatened to stop all bailouts to Pakistan. And one was wondering how he's had a change of heart. This perhaps will help explain that.
Absolutely, and that's why I want to come back to my original point that they played so smartly, the Pakistani agencies, these states, that they didn't wait for Trump to come back. They were like, okay, we are sure that he's coming, let's start to work on this. So by the time Trump came in January, they already had the whole setup in place, that who is the person who will approach them, who will approach this administration, and how he or she will ensure that Pakistan stays out of FATF. It continues to get the support from IMF.
And we've seen one such extradition happen. Perhaps that was also something offered by Pakistan, isn't it? And the US thanked them as well for that extradition.
That in the live press conference. Yeah. So this is all part of setup. And in fact, I'm not sure how many of these people are aware that FATF has 39 members, and the majority of its funding comes from the US, Germany, and Japan, 3 countries. So if you have the US on your side, there is no, possibility of you being put in the FATF grey list, which India has been trying.
For more such videos, subscribe to the Newsx YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.